This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, their songwriting techniques, and occasionally getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. Welcome to episode 209. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Hot Chip. The British dance and electro icons released their brilliant 8th record back in August, titled Freakout Release. They're touring the country this week, including a set at Harvest Rock Festival in Adelaide. In today's episode, we're speaking with band member Felix Martin about getting back on the road, their 8th studio record, and memories of touring the big day out. Here we go. Our guest today is one of the members of indie electro band Hot Chip. Known for consistently releasing thought-provoking dance and electronic music, the London band released their 8th studio record back in August, which was entitled Freakout Release. This week, they're playing shows in Australia, including a set at Harvest Rock Festival here in Adelaide. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Felix Martin from Hot Chip. Hello, sir. How are we?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's about 11 o'clock at night where I am. I'm in San Francisco, so I'm in a slightly different time world to where you are. I'm not even sure which day of the week it is where you are, but
where
it's
are
Tuesday night here.
It is Wednesday evening where we are at the moment. Okay. I was going to guess that you were a little bit further away from San Fran. I was under the impression that I believe Hot Chip are playing in Argentina at the end of this week. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, there's a South American tour happening at the moment. But due to kind of health issues, I've been skipping in and out of some of the shows over the last couple of years recently. I have like a bunch of like chronic illnesses and stuff that I deal with, so I'm not always present for the live shows, but I am going to be traveling to Australia, so
that is very exciting to hear. I'm obviously sorry to hear that you're missing out on those South America dates, but I'm slightly think it might be rude of me or even a little bit selfish, but I'm glad that we get to see you.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I hate missing out on stuff, but it's just unavoidable sometimes, but yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really, really, really grateful that I can come and visit Australia again and play.
Of course. Is there... I was having a look back over the course of the number of albums that Hot Chip have had, and then I'll get into that in a little bit, but are there many tour memories or kind of standout memories from the multiple times that you've visited Australia?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think in the early years, it's just I hadn't really done much traveling prior to when we started touring with the band, so just suddenly being able to go to somewhere as far away as Australia and play our music just seemed like such an amazingly exotic and exciting and fantastic thing to do, you know. That would have been probably when we were doing the Big Day Out festivals. And yeah, it just felt like a real moment with what was happening with the band and with the kind of electronic music scene at the time in general. And it was quite a fun festival to be on because in general all the artists would sort of travel together around the country, so you'd end up on the same flights and on bus rides together and just just kind of hanging out with different people and partying and staying in the same hotels and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a crazy school journey or something with with a bunch of people who are quite kind of green with touring, but just super excited to be there.
We have spoken to a few artists over the years who have kind of recanted similar stories. It was almost like, a big musical summer camp for adults, if you will. That it was. Yeah, but it felt like, the crowds and the audience were as much a part of that as anything. It felt like a kind of a moment that encompassed the musicians and the audiences, and it was just exciting to be part of that, and it was a cool time. It is. Well, there are a lot of fond memories in relation to Big Day Out. I did manage to catch Hot Chip at the Adelaide Big Day Out many years ago as a younger man. Mm-hmm. But I will be seeing you. We are based in Adelaide, which is where you're playing Harvest Rock Festival next week. When this episode is out, it'll be this weekend. It's very exciting because this festival does seem a little bit more, I don't want to say grown up, but it seems a little bit more based on the music itself, and there's a bit of culinary and food and wine, which I'll get to later. But I guess, have you managed to have a look at the lineup for Harvest Rock yet?
I haven't checked it out actually. I was just looking at the schedule earlier on today, but I haven't got around to looking at the lineup. Who's going to be playing?
I believe we've got Jack White and Crowded House, and then Sam Fender, the Avalanches, Krungbin. I feel like there's a handful of other incredible acts which we'll make sure we post in this podcast. But Hot Chip are returning to our shores for the festival and touring on the back of the brand new album Freakout release that came out recently. Firstly, congratulations on this record, because it is a brilliant record.
Thank you, man. Yeah, thank you. It's great to have it out there and to share it with people.
Of course. With this being the 8th studio record from the band, is there still a sense of nervousness when you guys release something, and I guess wonder how it's going to be received?
I'm not sure if it's nervousness. There's definitely anticipation, and I really like the bit when you first release, the first single or the first couple of tracks that drop from the album, and just the enthusiasm and people kind of remembering who we are and being like, oh, these guys are still around and still making good music. That's kind of my favorite reactions to the record, I guess, is just people seem genuinely surprised that we're still capable of making good records when we're eight albums into our career. I think most of the time people think by the time you're that far in, you're going to be not really making anything very interesting anymore. But yeah, it still seems to work, and people still seem to like it. So we'll keep making them for as long as we can.
Well, from all the reviews that I've seen, I don't want to obviously use my own personal bias with that, but from all the reviews I have seen, it does come across that people, they are still enjoying what Hot Chip is doing, that you guys still consistently put out good record after good record, and that it kind of, the track record continues to be unbroken. There's no dud as of yet, touch wood. But
yeah, I mean, people definitely have their favourites, and I think maybe the key to it is that the albums tend to jump around quite a lot as well. So I think each record has got quite a kind of wide variety of types of music as well. So it's a funny thing. I think we're probably getting to the point in our career where we should think about releasing like a greatest hits. Not that we've ever really had any particular hits, but it's quite fun. Sometimes I go back and listen to older albums and I'll be reminded of, because there is so much music out there and the hot chip music out there, and I'll be like, oh, I would just have forgotten about a song that I was dead excited about at the time, and now I'm like, oh, we don't play that one live. And there's a track called Thieves in the Night from One Live Stand, I think, which I love. It's such a kind of banger, but I don't think we've performed it live for probably 10 years or something like that, and it's not a terribly well known one, but yeah.
When it comes to, I guess, album tracks, things like that, do you revisit much of the previous body of work from the band when you're about to go back into the studio? Like for this album, was there revisiting of those previous records?
Not especially. I think Alexis and Joe tend to have a bit of anxiety about not wanting to repeat ourselves and not wanting to just try and recreate the sound or ape songs that we've written in the past. They always want to do something new. They have a real strong instinct and a real strong desire to keep things interesting and to do things in a different way, which I think is one of the big reasons why the music continues to be interesting, that they're not willing to just fall back on the same formula, if you know what I mean. Even if the sound of the band is quite consistent over time, it means that we just don't try to repeat ourselves too much. But we wouldn't necessarily go back and listen to old albums. We just know it in our heads, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. From what I had read of this record, though, the method of, I guess, composing or creating these songs was slightly different in that for the first time ever, it was all band members in the one room writing together for creating the song as one unit, if that makes sense. Yeah.
We've done that a bit before. It's always been a bit of a mixture of things with a heavy reliance on Joe producing a lot of the music, and Alexis writing stuff independently. It's always been a bit of a balance between those central pillars of the songwriting, and then myself and Al Doyle and Owen Clark coming in and helping to flesh things out more or less. But I'd say on this album, probably Al had a more substantial role, and it was all created in his studio in London. So, inevitably, I think he had a bigger role this time around.
Is this the first time you guys had recorded in his studio, or has it kind of been that Hot Chip's always used his space?
Yeah. Well, it's a studio that me and Al ran together for a very long time, probably 15 years. And then we built a new studio in the same space, in the same building in London, basically, which was much more, we put a lot more money into it and made it really nice. And then I decided to move to the other side of the world, so I haven't had a chance to use it much. But it's really Al's kind of baby, and he's put so much time and money and love into it that it's a really fantastic facility at this point, and somewhere that we feel very at home there, and it feels like our own place. So it's great.
I feel like that is a fantastic thing to have. Obviously, a great studio space where you can kind of make it your own, and in our sense that, like, I guess is his own. With this record, it does sound like, and previous records, that there's always been a sense that the band, you guys do have a very distinctive sound. I feel like you can tell when it's a Hot Chip record, and this one has come back and it still distinctively sounds like that, but it does feel, and I'm sure it's been in a lot of press, so I apologise if you guys already heard this, there's a sense of urgency. There seems to be a real kind of, not to take from the album title, but a release. It's almost like pent-up anger, pent-up energy is orally exploding on this record.
This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that it was made during various degrees of COVID-related lockdowns, and it definitely reflects the anxiety and the difficulty of that period of our lives, and then it also, to some extent, reflects the feeling of breaking out of that time and trying to get back to some kind of normality, or what is normal to us. I think all of that is part of the sound of the record, but I think it does have darker elements to it, and there's definitely a bit more kind of aggression in there to some extent, and a degree of melancholy or despondency or anxiety, all of those things. It's always part of, well, I don't know, to a varying degree, it's always been part of who Hot Chip are, but it's definitely come to the fore a bit more on this record.
I would agree with that. I guess there's a lot of online conversation in relation to, not that it's a more serious record, because I feel like there's tracks where there's no real ballads, there's not like a slower BPM, but yeah, the content, what is being talked about seems to be a bit more serious, a bit more I don't even want to say grown up.
Typically, I think we probably, I haven't, really thought about this in depth, but I think in the early years of Hot Chip, the albums, the lyrics, we would tend to undercut ourselves lyrically, just using levity or kind of bathos to some extent, because maybe we were worried about seeming to take ourselves too seriously. That was always a pitfall, or something that we wanted to avoid. Those kind of like pompous musicians who seem to take everything they do very, very seriously, which is but maybe as we've got older, we're more willing to just not have to have that humour or levity in there necessarily. It doesn't mean that there isn't room for it at times, but maybe we're less afraid to just stick to a song which is quite dark without feeling the need to put some stupid lyrics or sounds in there to brighten the mood.
100%. I feel that it's still, Hot Chip have always had their own, again, distinctive sound, but distinctive almost sense of humour, and I feel like that's still there in it. As you mentioned, it's not gone. It is just that sometimes the subject matter might be, on a little bit less of a joking side, which there is nothing wrong with that evolution as well.
No, I think one thing that remains is just lyrically, Alexis is very interested in like being playful with words and language, so could be repeating a phrase or picking up on a phrase or an expression that he finds interesting. So there's a kind of inherent playfulness to his relationship with language and lyrics. So even if the content of the song is quite dark, there'll always be that playfulness with words.
100%. I think it is still one of the best key features of Hot Chip is the playful lyricism and wordplay. On this new record, Felix, there are a few guests joining you. There is the Canadian rapper Cadence Weapon, and there is also Lou Hater from New Young Pony Club. How did those collaborations kind of come about, and how did those two get involved?
Just very naturally, I think. Joe was a fan of Cadence Weapon's album, or especially most recent album, and he happened to be in London, so it's just one of those serendipity things where he just dropped by the studio and it just worked out without much thought going into it. And then Lou is just a friend of the band, really, and has been involved in a few things that we've done over the years. And she just kind of quite naturally popped up for a few of the sessions, and just really liked what she contributed. So yeah, it was a pleasure to have her involved. And she came and performed some shows that we had in Brixton. It was great to have her on stage as well, performing some of the stuff that she did on the album.
I feel like Hot Chip is a force to be reckoned with live, and so I can imagine those shows would have been incredible, especially having Lou there. As we've mentioned at the top of the interview, you are in Australia at the end of this week when it comes out. You've got a few of your own shows, which will be at venues in, I believe, Melbourne and Sydney. And then, yes, obviously the festival in Adelaide. Do you have a preference when it comes to either your own kind of club or theatre venue shows versus the festival set?
Not especially. I think over the years, both have, there's just big, I know it's a bit of a cop-out answer, but obviously your own shows, you're playing to a kind of home crowd, as it were, and people that are really enthusiastic and excited to see Hot Chip, and a more intimate setting is kind of nicer in some ways, but then the raw excitement and the thrill of playing at a festival with a big crowd, and the kind of special moments that can happen in that setting are really brilliant as well. So I find both things very cool.
Well, we're very looking forward to seeing you here in Adelaide at Harvest Rock Festival. We'll make sure that we're putting the dates for those the theatre shows and for Harvest Rock in the show notes. As I mentioned before, Felix, that this festival is being treated as more of a bit of a grown-up festival, that there's music, arts, culinary kind of experiences. Are you a big South Australia, I'm not sure if you're aware, we're known for our wines. We're a big wine state.
Okay.
Are you a big wine drinker?
I'm not a big wine drinker. I'm not a drinker at all for the last 12 and a bit years, I think. I haven't drunk any alcohol. But yeah, some people in the band are pretty into their wine. So I'm sure they'll be excited to hear that. And I can just focus on the nice food and the nice setting. And I'm sure it'll be a real pleasure to be there.
There is, for those who are not drinking, I am on the same situation as yourself. I won't be drinking, but there is a lot of different culinary food. I believe there's about 9 or 10 different kind of different offers and different stalls, different kind of places that they're offering. So again, we'll have all that in the show notes. Felix, very quickly, lastly, we would ask our guests what they're currently listening to. Is there anything that's on high rotation for yourself?
I'm afraid I've only got a stupid answer to this because I'm hanging out with my 2.5-year-old son quite a lot. So all I'm really listening to is kind of fairly inane children's music. Although we did listen to the album Rubber Soul by the Beatles yesterday, and he was really into that. So we're probably going to be listening to a lot more Beatles. That's a lot better than like whatever other horrible children's music he's listening to.
I can, as someone who currently has 2 to 3 different nieces around the house, there's a lot of Wiggles, there's a lot of Lululemon. So any Beatles, I think, great step up.
Yeah, Beatles feels like a real progression.
Yeah. Felix, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I appreciate it. Congratulations on the album Freakout release. And yes, we look forward to seeing you in Australia next week for Harvest Rock Festival and for your tour.
Yeah, no worries, man. I can't wait. Really looking forward to it.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Felix Martin for his time. Hot Chip's Australian tour begins this week, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to buy tickets to either show in Brisbane or Sydney, or to Harvest Rock Festival here in South Australia. We also want to give a huge shout out to Layla at Scrabble PR for helping out with today's interview. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Wednesday and Friday morning, and we now have a Patreon, which you can find within the show notes of this episode. You can follow the post profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.